Was 8. So these past 2 games, the professional bettors that are also betting this have come on the same side as I have. They're betting.
South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, Triple Sevens, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
Welcome in, sports bettors, and welcome to another episode of Sports by the Book. We are live from the South Point Hotel and Casino. We're going to keep our build-up for Super Bowl 59 going. We will have a show every day up until Sunday morning, which we will be here, Jeff Parles and myself, 9 to 10 a.m. to get you ready for the big game. Leading up to that point, though, each day we will talk about today's action, try and get you some bets each day leading up to there, and we'll talk about some prop bets that we like for the big game. Today, second half of the show at 9:30, we will have one of our favorites joining us, Sammy P from BetQL. So excited to get his take and who he likes for the big game. Thank you to everybody behind the glass getting us going. We've got Andrew, Ryan, and Vince all here. If you are joining us live, please jump in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions regarding the Super Bowl, we'd love to answer those today. Kenny White will be back with you guys tomorrow remotely. So a lot of Wednesday's action will be covered in that show. So we'd like to get a lot done today for the Super Bowl. We will go over his box score prediction once again. Who is we? I'm Alex White alongside Kenny White, professional sports bettor, former odds maker for the Las Vegas line for over 30 years. So a lot of experience here at the desk, and I'm just trying to learn from you as well as everybody else who is watching. Happy Tuesday. Good morning.
Well, you've learned pretty good. You're a good student. Winner of the Station Casino's Last Man Standing 2 years ago, and then this year, second place in the Circa. And your run at the end of the year was simply amazing. When no one else could win, you were winning. Chuck Edel had some good weeks there too, and he had an amazing season. But I think if you took you and Chuck's record the last 5 or 6 weeks of the season, it was well over 65-70%, and the rest of the field was under 50%. So meaning it was a tough time to win.
Right.
I mean, I'm not downgrading those handicappers. It was the books were doing well. But you know what? When I say that, it was an NFL year where the favorites covered. Chad Millman discussed that yesterday, and I didn't get a chance to say it to him. But at about the time that I met Chad, it was one of those years where the NFL, 59% of the favorites covered that year. And it was a terrible year for the books. Everybody was on the favorites. But the next year, it completely flipped that the favorites only covered 40%. So maybe we have something to look forward to as dog players.
Okay, we should. Yeah, we'll have to ask him about that because I know they keep records and have everything from year to year and are very big with trends there at Action Network. So I'm sure they do have the numbers. And you just said that year following.
Yeah.
And we'll see if that is a trend that has happened
They'd have to
more
go all
than
the way
just
back.
that one.
I believe it was like 03, 04, 05 in that range.
A lot of fun talking with him yesterday. A lot of great points from him, and he is on the side of until somebody beats Patrick Mahomes, he's going to continue to bet on him and make money. We are seeing some shift, though, and we are seeing now just ones most places. So the Chiefs still the favorite, but just by one. I think South Point was one of the last ones to go to one. I saw 1.5 pretty late last night. Total sitting at 49. So curious if you think this will get to pick, or maybe even the Eagles go off as the favorite.
Boy, it's a good question because I didn't think it would move off 1.5, but I guess if I did think it was going to go to 1. There's so much love for Kansas City. I guess there's some hate because there was a lot of hate for the Patriots every year when they were winning, and you just I don't know. You want to see different teams winning and different teams in the game, I guess, but there's a lot of Kansas City love. So it's Patrick Mahomes. Who wants to bet against him? It's hard to. So I think you're split down the middle. I don't think this is going to pick. Well, especially one thing was funny that the guys in the office at LVSC used to say 20 years ago when I would say, all right, let's send it out pick. And they're like, you can't. Well, why can't you send it out pick? Well, because if there's not a favorite, the little guys in the sports books won't know who to bet on. So if it's pick, they'll just sit there and look at it all day. But if there's a -1, they'll go bet the -1.
That is pretty funny. And we'll talk to Sammy P because I know he is good friends with John Murray over at the Westgate. And I listened to Bear Bets podcast, which is Chris Felica. Both of them were on, and Murray said they moved to 1 in anticipation of the Eagles potentially becoming the favorite. And then he started to say something very interesting, and he didn't get to fully explain, but he was talking about them looking at the props and the props kind of being lopsided and more towards the Eagles winning the actual game. And if you look at them, it's actually very true. If you're looking at the rushing yards, the passing yards, the Eagles are all much higher, which would kind of insinuate that they would win the game ultimately. So side not really matching up with the props, which...
Well, when I talked to you about it after redoing both teams' rosters and individually rating out each player, I'm looking at going, well, the Eagles have 3 of the 4 best specialty players in the game. Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, and Devonta Smith. Next is Kelsey. That's it. So it's 3-1 in specialty guys. And then I went to the offensive line, and it was really shocking to me that the Kansas City Chiefs have 2 average players on their offensive line. And I had Philadelphia's offensive line 2 points better to the betting line. That's how good that offensive line is. So even with the Jason Kelsey retiring, that offensive line is still the best in football, and now their defense is vastly improved with Vic Fangio. So I agree. The Eagles just have the better roster, and when you start to look at the props, it's lopsided that the Eagles are supposed to win this game.
I remember the Chiefs did lose 1 Super Bowl before this big run, and that was to Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And a lot of people downgraded their offensive line problems, and they showed up big time in the big game.
That was against Tampa, wasn't
Tampa
it?
Bay.
Tampa Bay, yeah.
Sorry, Tampa Bay. Brady.
Tom Brady. It was Tom Brady and Tampa Bay, yeah. So that's pretty amazing. That was Tom Brady's last Super Bowl win, but that was the weakness of Kansas City, their offensive line in that Super Bowl. And I kept saying that. Sam Panayotovich and I were probably on this desk working for VEASAN, talking about that exact game, and I brought that point up. Kansas City's offensive line is the weakness in this game. That's why Tampa's going to win.
Should be interesting. Yeah. We'll see. Now the Chiefs come into this one winning 2 in a row, and kind of it's pretty much a miracle. I mean, how they have gotten this done. I mean, the Niners last year were the better team as well. They forced overtime and somehow got that win. So we'll see what they can do here in their 3rd game. Going for history, first team ever to win 3 in a row.
Yeah, last time these two played, I bet Kansas City, and the main reason I bet Kansas City is they already had experience on this stage, and Philadelphia did not. And now Philadelphia has experience. Their quarterback, Jalen Hurts, a lot of their star players, a lot of their entire team is back from that year. So they have the experience now in the Super Bowl. They know what to expect. They're going to be much better off for that experience in this game. And this game's going to be a great game. It's going to go back and forth. And that's why the total scares me. because you always want to look under in this game because everybody's looking over. And I think there's a good reason for under because of the defenses. But when you've got 2-star quarterbacks, that's my best overs. I saw it in the FCS this year. Every time I had 2 really good quarterbacks, the games went over 80% of the time. And the same thing in the FBS when you got 2 really good quarterbacks. So doesn't change at this level. The quarterback's the most important player on the field, and we have 2 of the best going head to head. And when you have that, they score points.
One more point, because I don't want to take too much time since we will be talking all Super Bowl the second half of the show. I do want to get to college basketball and hockey. We have a full slate in both of those sports. But to your point, last year you loved the Niners, but you weren't as confident in picking the Niners. You said the best bet was the same game teaser, teasing the Chiefs up, and because they were the underdog of, I think, 2.5, right?
Yeah.
So getting them to 8.5, and either way with that total, didn't matter which way you did the total, that came through. And then 2 years ago, I said to you, what do you think about Jalen Hurts MVP? And your reaction was, what about Patrick Mahomes MVP? And that year you went to Arizona, went to that Super Bowl with CBS Sports, and we're all over the Chiefs. So it does make me feel a little different here that you feel stronger about the Eagles this year when the last 2 years you were on the Chiefs side. So
yeah,
it should be interesting.
I don't play favorites.
You definitely don't play favorites.
And, Super Bowls are I have always said they're a coin flip. And for years, it seemed like I was on the wrong side of the Super Bowl. And I was on a lot of dogs. And I'm looking at everybody else bragging about, hey, nine straight Super Bowl wins for me, 10 straight, 12, whatever. And I'm like, that's pretty amazing you could do that in a coin flip game. But actually, I've been very good at the Super Bowl. It's been very good to me. I think the last 5 or 6 years now, I've won each one. So, I feel pretty confident about Philadelphia. However, it is the Patrick Mahomes factor.
That's right. Anything can happen. And it is a coin flip, really, here sitting at 1. So we all just hope we have a good game, an exciting game. I know the sports books are hoping for a very boring game like that Rams and Patriots game, because that would really help them with the prop market as well. But let's get into it. We're going to start with some hoops. We'll go to college basketball. Going to the hardwood here. A lot of good games on the board, and we'll try to find some action that you guys can jump in on. Remember, you don't have to completely follow us on our whiteboards. We will go through the whole slate, give you some points on why you might like a side or total, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bet for us. I had a good day following your plays at the end of the extra board there. Went 2-0 here with Alcorn State +5. They did win outright. And then I took South Carolina State over 154. That did hit as well. These are some of my props. You don't have to read those.
Yeah, you're going to have to write those props on a piece of, paper.
I'm going to start a spreadsheet here today.
Start a spreadsheet. That's a good idea.
Get a nice portfolio for my prop bets. But 2-2 for you in college hoops yesterday.
I should have just followed the second sheet of my printout, and it was 4-0, 3-0 in the totals. Howard, I suggested over. It went flying over. Maryland Eastern Shore, I don't know how that didn't make my whiteboard because I didn't see the second page. I had a 16-point difference. It went under easy, landed right on my number. And then Alcorn State and under in the last game were easy winners. My whiteboard went 2-2. The one game that lost Lamar under went flying over, and I have no explanation for why. The shooting was a little above average, and there was no turnovers in the game, very few, less than average. But Incarnate Word, +17.5, lost by 2. Houston Christian was a really tough loss, +7.5, up 11 at halftime, and lose by 8. But Jackson State came through in the big rivalry game, down 12 at halftime, tied it up, sent it to overtime. So that was a winner. 2-2 on the whiteboard. That whiteboard should have been 6-2, I think.
And that's why I'm saying, if you're listening to the full show, not just going to the end, you can listen to the explanations and jump in on which bets you think are the best. Might have gotten some of those good ones there. But I did bring up that you had 3 revenge dogs, and those did go 2-1, with one of them not covering by half a point. So those were very good as well. But let's get to it. We have a great game right off the top here. Top of the Big East between Marquette and St. John's. St. John's 2.5 at home, 148.5.
Yeah, and I've got some good conference information, but I didn't look at the Big East because I didn't see many games in the Big East today. There's one at the end of the schedule, Georgetown, and then this one, which is the game of the day. Marquette and St. John's are both great teams, both very, very well coached, both love to run, but both play great defense and both play great transition defense. I went under here. I made the side, the Johnnies 5.5, Rick Pitino's squad, total 138.5. So I went under 145, just 1% bet because of the defense, because of the transition, and because of how big a game it is for both teams. St. John's is in first place at 10-1. Marquette is in second place at 9-2, and they're coming off a loss. Connecticut beat Marquette at Marquette. Marquette's only 2 losses have been at home. They haven't lost a road game this year. So, but I'm not betting the side, betting the total.
Okay, total in that one for you. I am leaning towards St. John's there at just 2.5 at home, but we'll see.
I will give you that. Marquette, well, no, they're 4-4 ATS on the road, but they're 6-2 under.
Okay.
In their away games.
So that trend does follow with the total there. How about Kent State, 7.5, 140.5 for the total in this one?
So I'm going to explain this one. I don't have a bet on the game. Made Kent 7 and 136.5. But I did look at the Mid-American Conference tournament for the men's. There's 12 teams in the MAC. This is very important. The top 8 make the conference tournament, which means there's no buys. It is important to finish higher seeding because one will play 8, but the bottom 4 teams are done for the year. Their season is over. And the very important thing about this conference is there's about 8 teams that are log jammed there at the bottom. So you're 4 and 5. If you lose tonight, you're going in the bottom, and that's this game. Both of these teams are 4 and 5. This is a must win for both teams, and I do lean to the under. Both teams are horrible offensively. Kent State does play good defense. Eastern Michigan can't stop anybody. I don't know why. Stan Heath was always a good defensive coach, but not this year. So both these teams, really a big game for them, must win, and Kent State lost away last year, so they didn't give home, but that's the Mid-American Conference. Follow that. There's going to be some games that teams need to win in the next 2 or 3 weeks in the MAC where the other team really doesn't care. They may have second or third locked up. They look like the far better team. You're going to be taking a lot of points. The better team may still win the game, but you've got a motivated team that knows their back is to the wall, getting a lot of points.
So under 140.5 for you in this one. Kent State is in the top 60 in the country defensively, right?
Yeah, they're a very good defensive team, and they play slow. They play very slow, so they're going to slow the pace and keep this down at a slower pace. And their defense should shut down Eastern Michigan. But that's very important to watch. The Mid-American Conference, I think, is one of those conferences that conference tournament is something you have to factor into your handicapping in February.
Every team is in action tonight, so we will go through those as we get to them because we should point out the bottom 3 that probably have no shot, right, with Northern Illinois, Buffalo, and Bowling Green.
Well, 2 of them are playing each other, Bowling Green and Northern Illinois tonight. And this is kind of their last gasp that they know they can get a win here and try to make a run and win 2 or 3 in a row. They still have 6, 7, 8 games left, so they haven't given up yet.
Okay.
But there will be a point where you're right. Watch these teams when they do give up.
Yeah, because just 1 and 8 in conference play for Northern Illinois, so they have quite the hill to climb.
We'll just jump to that game. Let's jump to that game because I don't have anything on Davidson and Dayton.
Okay.
Davidson does have revenge, but my numbers are right on. I made it 8 and 147.5. But Northern Illinois Bowling Green, Northern Illinois has revenge. They lost at home last year. I adjusted this down to 1. Bowling Green has been bet up. I think it's 6 here. It was 6.5 in the market. I don't know why. Bowling Green's a bad team. You're laying points with a bad team. I say don't ever do that. With the revenge factor, both teams at the bottom of the division, this is a must-win for both teams. I think it could be a very close game. So I took 6.5 with the Northern Illinois, the Huskies.
And you do have the better defensive team, not by much, but a little bit. But Northern Illinois just really struggles offensively. But okay, so 6 in that one with.
Well, and the one thing I looked at, Northern Illinois actually has played better offensively the last 4 games. It's one thing I looked at. Kent State, too, is another weak team they've started to pick it up offensively.
So dog in this one, Northern Illinois plus
Northern
6.
Illinois plus 6.5, yes.
St. Louis 1.5, 152.5.
Like St. Louis here, they have home revenge from last year. They are 6-3 in the conference. Have played the 3rd most difficult schedule. They're the number 1 defensive team in the conference. And it's a team that's playing well. Both these teams go up tempo. My total is leaning to the under, and that's because of the defenses. Both teams do play better defense than they do offense, but I like the side better. And the money has come on St. Louis today. Again, I laid 1 this morning. It's now up to 1.5.
Just have to win by a bucket there.
Just win.
Okay, Akron 13, 158.5.
Akron's 9-0 in the conference. They're basically coasting. They're going to be the 1 or 2 seed. I don't think this game means much to them. Ball State has revenge. They lost last year at home, and they're 4-5. They're one of those teams fighting.
Yeah.
You're getting a lot of points. I made it 13, though. I'm not saying I only made it. It's on the number. So it's not a play. I'm going to pass. But this is a game interesting to look at because of that factor. But the total, I have a play. I made it 170.5. Ball State on the road, 7-2 to the over. Akron at home, 8-0 this year to the over. And Akron loves to play fast, one of the fastest teams in the country. Ball State, horrible on defense. And both teams gamble on defense and pressure. So this game's going to go back and forth. I think there'll be 75 to 77 possessions in this game tonight. Help us get it over with no defense.
Well, and of course we have Akron kind of coasting, but they are at home.
Yeah.
But loves to play fast, 14th fastest in the country. BCU 19.5, 144.
Revenge for LaSalle from last year. I made it 18.5, 138. I lean to the under. However, I'm not betting it because both teams do play up tempo. LaSalle is a weaker defensive team, and the trends don't line up. LaSalle 4-2 over on the road. Commonwealth 6-6.
Wichita State 3, 144.5.
Very interesting. I can't believe Wichita State has fallen as far as they have. They're 1-7 in the conference. Charlotte's 1-8. So we get the bottom 2 teams playing. But Charlotte has played the far better schedule. 3rd best schedule in the conference. Wichita only win on the year was against Charlotte. They've already played this year. Wichita won 68-59 at home. These two are very equal teams. And for some reason, Wichita's a 3-point favorite. I took 3.5 this morning with Charlotte. And I think what's going to be a very close game.
And Charlotte, their one win is South Florida. So good conference win for them. Decent enough. Central Michigan, this is a pick'em, 144.5.
I have a pick'em in 143.
Nothing in that one. Ohio 10, 151.
I made it 9.5, but there is revenge. Western Michigan lost the conference tournament last year, the last time these 2 teams played. So I made it 7. It's right there. Well, 10 is a little higher. I guess I could lean to the dog in that game. The total's right on. But again, both these teams must win. Ohio does have a winning record. They are 5-4. It does look good for them at this moment. They would be in the conference tournament. But if they were to lose 2 or 3 in a row, they could be out. So I think they've got their backs to the wall. Obviously, Western Michigan does at 4-5. So Big game for both teams.
Big game for both teams. So lean to the dog here.
Lean to the dog, but since it is a big game for both teams, I'm going to pass.
All right. Toledo 14 at home, 165.
Toledo 7-2. Kind of cruising. There is revenge again. Buffalo lost both games last year. My adjustment's down to 11. This game's 14. Buffalo's 2-7. They're one of those teams you mentioned that look like they're out, but they still have life. So I wouldn't bet against Buffalo until they are eliminated from the conference tournament. Now their coach, George Halkovich, is in his 2nd year. I think the team's going to continue to play hard for him. There's bad defensive teams, 2 really bad defensive teams. I'll take 14, though, in a game that I think Toledo could coast. Buffalo needs the game.
How about your total, 165? Both of these teams are in the top 100 for pace.
Yeah, they both run. And they both horrible defensive teams. And Buffalo likes to play pressure defense. They'll force you into into an up-tempo game. So I lean to it, but again,
Your
I'm
number's
166, it's 165. It has come up. This number was 162 yesterday. So I'll pass, but small bet, 1% plus 14.
Plus 14 in that one. So we missed the best of the number. If we would have got an overnight number, it would have been over. Penn State 7 and 141.
7 and 145.5. Not interested in the over because Minnesota plays very, very slow. Penn State loves to run, and they're very good on the offensive end. Penn State is, but again, I'll pass. Well, let's talk about this though. Big Ten Conference.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first Big Ten game we've hit. Now the Big Ten Conference, the bottom 3 teams do not make the conference tournament. So very important. You don't want to finish in the bottom 3. The top 9 teams get a bye, but the top 4 teams get a double bye. So there's a lot of incentive to finish in the top 4. As the Mid-American doesn't have that, where those teams at the top will cruise, the Big Ten top teams want to keep winning because they want that double bye. So very important, and I love it again that there's a single bye for the top 9. So if you're 9th or 10th, those are big games for you. Right. They're also for the 10th team. You could be on the outside looking in. Now this game, both of these teams are 3 and 8. They're both on the outside looking in. Both these teams need this game badly, but again, my numbers are right on. But something to remember, Big Ten has a lot of incentive in their conference tournament seedings. So
right now the bottom 4 are Washington, Minnesota, Northwestern, and then Penn State, all without 4 wins in conference yet.
Yep.
Florida coming off a loss to Tennessee, 12-point favorite at home, 155.5.
Well, beat down. Both these teams coming off bad losses. Vandy lost by 30 at Oklahoma, and Florida lost by 20 at Tennessee. I like it over. Is it still 155? 155.5. That's good. Both teams play up tempo, and both teams are far better offensively than they are on the defensive end. And do I have any trends? No, I do not. Florida's actually been an under team at home. I'm not worried about that, though. I think they get after it offensively after getting held to 44. That's going to be their main focus is offense tonight, and that's what they do well.
Over 155.5 in that one. Ole Miss 4.5, 158.
I'm right there, 2 and 155. I'll just pass.
Florida State 2.5 and 143.
Yeah, we just got two of the biggest games of the day, I feel like, and I'm passing again. I made it 2 and 147.5. I do lean to the over a little bit, but you have conflicting styles. Notre Dame plays slow. Florida State wants to run. Can Florida State get Notre Dame to run? We'll see.
Looking at their highest possession games, I guess Syracuse is that top one there. Let's go Purdue, 7-point favorite on the road against Iowa, 156.
Yeah, I'm really surprised. My total 159.5, and this total has gone up from 153.5 to 156. So there was money for the over. Iowa's been my over team all year because they run and they're much better offensively than they're on the defensive end. Purdue, that's our team to win it all, 60-1 down to 35-1, can score. One of the top 10 offenses that are top 25 defense, but they're much better offensively than they're in the defensive end. So I made it 159.5 and leaned to the over.
Iowa last week did not get there for us on Tuesday. Wow, it played 2 more games since then. Not a very tough schedule for them going into this one. Drake 4.5 and 124.
Very interesting game. Drake is 10-2 on the year. At one point when they were undefeated, they lost to Illinois, Chicago, and they dropped to 12-1 and 2-1 in the conference. It was the bubble burst. It was on New Year's Day. And then they went home and they were probably feeling sorry for themselves. And that's what happens sometimes after your first loss. And they weren't prepared to play Murray State. And Murray State beat them at Drake on their home court. So they've lost twice all year. They won 8 in a row since that day. I think they've had this game circled on their calendar. They're the far better basketball team. There's no comparison that Drake's better offensively and defensively. I make it 7.5 with no added revenge. Make it 10 with the revenge. So yeah, I like Drake here in this one, and total's right on.
One of your favorite plays right there, just laying under 2 possessions and
Yeah, I'd like to lay under one possession is the best play. If this game was 2.5,
Yeah.
I would have to play a little bit bigger play on that. That's for sure. But it is 4.5.
Let's go to Houston. They are a 21.5-point favorite over Oklahoma State, 131.5.
My favorite under team, Houston. Let me take a drink of coffee here real quick.
Did not get there this Saturday, so gave up
overtime.
A lot of points to Texas Tech. Maybe we are.
They're still 9-1.
Defense.
9-1 in conference. That wasn't their bubble burst, though. They did lose a game already this year. I didn't look to see who they have next. Obviously, Oklahoma State has revenge. They probably lost 7 times in a row to Houston.
Colorado next for Houston.
Well, that's not that big of a game for them. Baylor, Arizona coming up after that are big games, and Texas Tech and Iowa State. Those are all coming up. So I guess it could be kind of a bubble burst game. They lost at home, though, in front of their home crowd, and now they're coming back. I don't want to make a case either way. My numbers are really right there after factoring in the revenge from this year because they beat Oklahoma State 60-47. Very low scoring game at Oklahoma State. I make the game 20 and 128.5. It's basically right there.
So can't really make a case for the under, even though they should really lock down defense today, and we've seen them already do it against the Cowboys. But let's go to SIU Edwardsville, 6.5, 132.5.
Made the game 5 and 133, so we can pass. It's right there. There is revenge for Eastern Illinois, so actually if I adjust that down to 2.5, I do lean to Eastern Illinois.
Taking the points there, 6.5. Utah State, 8.5 on the road against Wyoming, 141.
Mountain West Conference Tournament. Top 5 teams get a bye, so you always want to be paying attention to that. Utah State at 9-2, top the division. Wyoming 4-7, but have played a very tough schedule. I did make the game Utah State 10s. We're right there in the total 138.5. There's really no difference, so no play on that game.
Interesting. New Mexico did jump Utah State now.
That's right. New Mexico is in first place.
They are in first place now. Xavier 8 at home, 140.5.
This is Ed Cooley again, but I have the game 10.5. I think Xavier's the better team. They played amazing. I think they lost last year, Nevada to Air Force. No, they beat them 68-62 this year at home. So I've got the game 10. It's right there. But my total 117.5. I do have an underplay there. Both teams play extremely slow. Both teams are better. Well, Nevada's about even offensively and defensively, but Air Force struggles to score. The tempo is going to be slow, so it does add up with my under. I will go under there for a single 1% play.
I might have to add that one as well. The two slowest in the Mountain West going against each other, so under 128.5. Let's hit a few more before we bring in Sammy P. Loyola, Chicago, 2.5, 132.
Yeah, that's right there, 1.5, 132. I'm going to make it quick because we do have Sammy P. waiting. So let me go down the schedule a little bit, Alex. Okay. I like Georgia Tech today. They lost earlier this year by 11 at home to Clemson. Clemson's 10-1 in the conference, and their next game is against Duke. So it's a look ahead for Clemson, and it's a revenge game for Georgia Tech. We can get 13.5 in that one. It's down to 12.5 now here at the South Point. And then I want to give you the bottom game. Let me see here. Did I have anything on that bottom game? I really did not. It's a Southwest Athletic Conference game, which is the worst conference in college basketball. And you've got number 1 Texas Southern, 7-1 in the conference against Arkansas State, 0-8. I made them 13. It seems like these games do get to be blowouts, so I do lean to Texas Southern in that game. So that's
What about that bottom Mountain West game really quick with Boise and UNLV? Because right now Boise is the 5th team in the Mountain West, UNLV 6.
I'm glad you mentioned that because, yes, that's the cutoff. Top 5 get a bye. So we've got number 5 playing number 6. This is a really big game for both teams. I made Boise 4 and 132.5. Both teams play slow. I do like it under. Didn't bet that yet, but I need to bet that under. It was 140.5, and now it's 141. So yeah, I like it under.
Is this the first time these two have met this year?
No, they played earlier in Boise, 81-59.
Okay. There we go. If you have any questions or we skipped any college hoops games that you would like us to talk about, please put them in the chat. We can do that after we have our guest. But don't go anywhere. In 1 minute, we'll be back with Sammy P.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Welcome back, everybody. Sports by the Book live from the South Point studio. I'm Alex White alongside Kenny White, and now we bring in one of our favorite guests at SP Shoot on X. He's also the host of Chicken Dinner Podcast, and he's got Bet Sweats is the place you can find him. BetMGM Network. Sammy, good to see you. How are you doing?
Alex, Kenny, happy Super Bowl week. Yeah, I have not fumbled the name yet. They changed the name of our show 2 days ago. I have not gotten it wrong yet, and I'm very, very proud of that.
So where can everybody find that show if they would like to watch it?
Yeah, they could just go to our socials at BetMGM Network. We're all over. We're on Stadium Television. You can listen on YouTube Live, and you can download on Apple and Spotify. You can find us basically everywhere you want, which is a little terrifying, but it's also exciting at the same time.
I have to give you some props. When you were here for Bet Bash, you came into studio with Jeff Parles and myself, and we talked about futures looking ahead for the NFL season, and you said, why not take the Chiefs? I know it's not the best number, but they will be there in the big game. Did you take them, and do you remember what the number was? I think it was 6-1.
I don't remember that morning, but I remember the bets that I made. You know what I mean? It's been a tradition that actually, Kenny and I talked about this several years ago because we can do the math and we can compute the numbers. But at the end of the day, in the playoffs, these games aren't played on calculators. And as good as Buffalo or Baltimore or Cincinnati might be on paper, they don't have Patrick Mahomes or Andy Reid. So this has been a bet. People watching right now, oh, yeah, the guy with the glasses likes the Chiefs. Well, if you bet them at 6-1 every summer, they've been to 5 Super Bowls now, and they could potentially have 4 Super Bowl trophies. So, yeah, it's a little bit square, but it's 6-1. The math is going to math for you. We also, Alex, on that show, talked about the Eagles to win the NFC at 7-1. I couldn't have been more right if I tried. And I'm not that type of person, but I love the addition of Barkley to their team. I mean, they have, to me, the best offensive line in the league, and now the best running back in the league. And it's going to be tough to stop for Kansas City.
No, in total agreement, Sammy. I went over the Alex asked me last week, hey, can you do like rankings on the offensive lines, defensive lines, linebackers, secondary? I said, yeah, I can do. I'm going to go back and I'll re-rate every single player on both teams. And, you know, throughout the year, I upgrade my power rating, my team power rating from the games they played. And I don't do the individual player power ratings. I did that early in the summer to get a team rating. And I was very surprised when I went back through what I did and individually rated each team out that the Kansas City Chiefs have 5 average NFL players in their starting 22. The Philadelphia Eagles have no average players. They're all above average. And Philadelphia's offensive line is far better than Kansas City's. The only advantage Kansas City has is the quarterback. Even the specialty players, the Eagles have that wrapped up with Barkley and Brown and Smith.
I think the Eagles should be favored in the game. And if you remember 2 years ago in this matchup in the Super Bowl, Philly went off -2, 2.5. And we still have some time, obviously, until the weekend. But I think Chris and the crew might be writing some bigger bets on Philly as we get closer. The problem is I have to bet against Mahomes and Andy Reid and Spags. And that's very alarming because those three together are good enough to beat any team, as we've seen over the years. But for me, it's simple. I mean, you're probably going to hear a lot of Chiefs this week from a lot of people. I think Philly has the best O-line in the league. They have a top 3 defensive line, and they have the best running attack, in my opinion, coming into the postseason, at least of all the playoff teams. So we'll see what happens. If Hurts fumbles, if Barkley fumbles, I'm going to hate myself. But what's done is done. I'm on the Eagles.
So you jumped in yesterday, Sammy, when you still could get that 1.5?
Yeah, I took 1.5, and my favorite bet in the game, I don't know, well, maybe not favorite because it's hard to pick a favorite bet or a favorite child. Not that I have kids or anything. I love this first quarter under, which is 9.5. The book's wised up, Alex and Kenny. This used to be 10. There were a couple years it was 10.5, and then a couple of the games landed on 10. So what they've done now is they've knocked it down a little bit. The first quarter total is 9.5, but you can get plus 100, plus 105, depending on where you bet. These are usually slower starting teams, and I really like their defenses. I mean, last year in the Super Bowl, it was 0-0 after one. Last 10 Super Bowls, 66 points in the first quarter. So that's 6.6 over the last 10 Super Bowls. Is that a trend that pays the rent? Maybe, maybe not. But under 9.5 in the first quarter is worth a look, at least in my opinion.
Yes, I mean, this total really scares me. When I'm betting over, I want to have great quarterback play, and that's what we have in this game. When I want to go under, I want teams that play slow and have great defenses. And that's in this football game because neither one of these teams play fast. They take their time on offense. They make sure they got the right play. And both teams, I think, have taken the page from Bill Belichick that they will run the ball late in the game to shorten the game when they have the lead. Kansas City's really shown that, but more at home than they have on the road. So the total, I'm really right there. I think I'm going to let it play out and see how it goes. And I know what you're saying, first quarter, and it has been that way. It just scares me. The last time these two played, I think Hurts put a score on the board like 3 minutes into the game. He scored a touchdown. And I think that was probably the highest scoring first quarter in the last 10 Super Bowls is the last time these two played.
Look, anybody saying that anything will happen or guarantees something in the Super Bowl is a liar. At the end of the day, we try and make good bets. I have no idea what's going to happen. I do think the first quarter, though, gives you the ability to, sit under a number that's probably a little bit bigger than it should be because of Mahomes and Kansas City. And Philly's offense is also very good as well. But you don't see that first quarter urgency like you see in the second quarter and like you see in the fourth quarter. I'm with you. I stayed away from the full game total because the way that these teams can turn it up if need be, and the way that these teams also go for it on fourth down, specifically Philly, like 4th and 1 at their own 30, they're probably going to go for it in the second half in this game if they need to. So you can get 14 points based off of one decision late in the game. That's why I chopped it in quarters and just went under in the first quarter.
Now you are looking at both tight ends, but for different reasons. Dallas Goedert has been a sexy name I've heard a lot for the Eagles, but you're also looking at a tight end for the Chiefs that is not Patrick Mahomes. What'd you bet on for these guys?
You said Dallas Goedert's a sexy name, right? Not a sexy man, right? I just want to clear that up. Sexy name?
A sexy prop bet that is being thrown out there, yeah.
Okay. I think he's kind of sexy, actually, but I do need him to score a touchdown. This is a price you can find 3-1 or higher, depending on where you look. One book has plus 333. I don't want to bet him over yards or over catches. I just like him to score a touchdown. He's always finding his way open on those broken plays in the end zone. And then you guys have probably heard this or heard somebody talk about the Noah Gray stuff. Noah Gray is probably not going to decide the Super Bowl for Kansas City. And he had a really good regular season, but as the games have gotten bigger and bigger and more important, they've used him less. And he didn't even have a target against Buffalo. So Noah Gray, I like under on yards and on catches. I'm not the first person to say that. I might not be the last, but I do like Goddard touchdown and then under on yards and catches for Noah Gray. If he beats me with 20 yards in the Super Bowl, I'll tip my cap, but I'm betting against it.
That is really interesting. I didn't realize that he did not have a target, especially because they didn't really utilize Travis Kelce in that game against the Bills, or they couldn't. He couldn't get open. But nothing for Kelce. Are we going back there? We saw him have a huge game in the first one. Nothing really in the second. But are you going there here for the Super Bowl?
I may add some Kelce late, and to be honest with you, it would be under. I'd probably go under on catches or yards. But the problem is, the books have put us in a tough spot. They put the number up 6.5, but they're juicing us to death on the under. I saw somebody hanging $1.55 to go under. No, I'm good. I'm good on that. I could just stay away and not play it. I don't, the older I've gotten, I sound like I'm like some genius right now. But 10 years ago, I was betting Mahomes and Barkley and Kelce and everybody that had their name in bright lights, and you just pay a tax on all those guys. That's why I'm on tight end 1 for Philly and tight end 2 for Kansas City. That's where I'm at in life.
When I started to look at these tight end props, the first thing that I noticed was Kansas City does not defend tight ends very well, where the Philadelphia Eagles do. So it really trends to your bet here. Travis Kelce is going to be on the field the majority of the time. You're right. Noah Gray's not going to decide the Super Bowl. It's going to be Travis Kelce. He's going to have all the time on the field. Even though I love Noah Gray, I think Noah Gray could be the starter at tight end on 20 of the 32 teams. He's that good. But when you got Travis Kelce, you go with your best players. And I liked Kelce in the first playoff game against Houston because Hollywood Brown's back. And you got Hopkins on one side, Worthy and Brown. There's 3 receivers. You cannot double team Kelce. But it scares me here. Philadelphia does such a good job. So I've been talked into Goddard over in receptions and yards. And Sammy, you just talked me into Noah Gray under in his receptions and yards. I'm going with you.
Let's go. Do we have a thought, either one of you, on Kelce touchdown? Should we bet it? Are we stupid for not? I can't figure out if I should bet it or not, because I remember 4 years ago, maybe, he was minus 120 to catch a touchdown in this game. And I see $1.40, $1.50, and I'm like, oh, you should probably bet that. But I'm like, I don't know why I haven't. I think, Alex, you made a good point. He did nothing in the last game, but the last game doesn't matter. This is the Super Bowl, and I feel like maybe I should. I'm going to bet him to score a touchdown.
Yeah, AJ Brown didn't do anything for 2 games, and then he went off against Washington. So these star players, you just have to trust that. They're going to have good games. That's for sure. 2
years ago, the way I found the loophole and get a better price on Kelce was I bet him to have a touchdown in the first half, which was turned out very well for me against this Eagles team. But I don't really want to go that route either. So I could see it more in the second half, actually, for him when they need him the most. But I like Pacheco, honestly. That's the one player I'm looking at, because I think you're getting such a good number on his carries, because we haven't seen much from him. But now he has another 2 weeks, and I think him and Hunt will still split the carries. So I'm looking at Isaiah Pacheco, too, as the skill player for the Chiefs. But walk us through your punts bet, because it works with the Eagles and going for 4th downs, but it's kind of contradicts your first quarter under. So walk us through what you like with the punts.
Yeah, I just need a 60-yard drive and then a failed 4th down conversion.
Okay.
That's what I need. I don't see many punts. I just don't. I could be way off on this. The juice has risen on the prop. Some places under 6.5, minus 40 now, minus 45. I do think that these teams, especially Kansas City, they want to keep the ball in Mahomes' hands as much as possible. And I do think you're going to see some aggressiveness on 4th down. So it's just one of a couple bets that I've made. It's nothing like I'm not going to bang the table if you don't like the punt prop in the Super Bowl. But I think under 6.5 is a good look. I will say I was trying, this will make Kenny laugh. I was trying to bet on one of the apps. I was trying to jam in when nobody was looking. The under on punts parlayed with the Eagles that convert on 4th down, and they would not take the bet. It was like, because you can't parlay anything that's correlated at a lot of these places. So that was just one of the bets I tried to make this week. 4th down conversion, yes, for Philly, and punts under. And like the cops showed up at my house when I tried to place the bet. You can't do that. I want to applaud, the crew at South Point. And I was talking with Colucci the other day. Some of these props they came up with, like the first touchdown for Mahomes, over under 9.5 yards. I have no idea where to start, but I know they're writing good on it. Like they're getting good action on that. I love these shops in Vegas. It's easy to make a formula on a lot of these player props and yards and completions and all that, but you don't get the creativity you get at places like the South Point, the Rampart, and other joints in Vegas where you really make us think. How long is his first touchdown pass? I have no freaking clue. But people are betting on it. I think the number is still 9.5 over under. I love stuff like that.
The majority of people, they're going over 9.5 because everybody loves over and thinking, hey, I got a 10-yard, 11-yard, 12-yard, 15, 25, 30-yard pass touchdown. It could definitely happen with the receivers that they have. I think it happens more for Philadelphia, though, a longer touchdown pass because, they love to do that tush push when they get in close. They got Barkley. I am really excited about Alex's prop with Isaiah Pacheco, because we did talk about this. And this is a guy that hasn't gotten a lot of touches, but he's RB1. He is the best running back. He is better than Kareem Hunt. But he was injured. He missed a lot of time, still working his way back into shape. And now with 2 weeks going into this game, it gives Andy Reid a chance. And I think the Kansas City Chiefs know we have Patrick Mahomes, yes. But we're going to need to run the football in this game. And if we're not able to run the football in this game, we're gone. Philadelphia is going to beat us, and it may not even be close. Andy Reid knows they have to run the ball. And I think Isaiah Pacheco may be a sneaky bet, maybe to score that first touchdown and also go over his rushing attempts and rushing yards, Sammy.
I'm here for it. As long as the Eagles win, he can do whatever he wants in the first quarter. Actually, you know what? Let him score in the second quarter, Kenny. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, okay.
Let him score with 15 minutes in the second quarter. First play of the second quarter, he can score that touchdown.
Yep.
I think trying to figure out what Andy Reid's going to do is very difficult. I mean, that's the true mismatch in the game. For all the talk about Mahomes, the biggest reason that I'm concerned is that you have two coaches in Reid and Spagnuolo that just know what to do in these games. And they've been here together quite a bit. The only game they lost in the Super Bowl was when they didn't have a left tackle or a right tackle, and they had no choice but to drop Mahomes back a bunch against that pass rush. It was tough. But those guys scare the hell out of me as somebody that needs Philly to win. Pacheco, if he's healthy, I mean, he could be a 10-carry, 90-yard guy in this game. I guess we'll all find out on Sunday, won't we?
Had 15 2 Super Bowls ago and 18 last year. So, yeah, he definitely could be that guy if he is healthy. Sammy, you brought up a great point. You're our inside guy. So any news on Joe Thuney? Is he going to go back to guard or is he playing left tackle? Because I think that has been their whole issue with their run game.
They're going to need as much help as they can get against Jalen Carter up front. I don't know. I do have a nugget on college basketball if we have time for that at the end of this, but I don't know what they're going to do. I would think conventional wisdom would say that you want to win the inside, the interior, and they have a much better chance if Thuney is at least trying to help negate Jalen Carter, but I have no idea what they're going to do. I imagine they're going to make the right decision, though, because they're Kansas City, and that's what they do.
Well, we would love to hear your college hoops nugget as well.
Yeah, we're betting Texas Tech. I actually did play some 7.5 that is starting to run. South Point still has an 8 as I see it. I think it's going to close a little bit higher. Wink, wink. It's not my tip to share, but I think this Baylor team is maybe not as healthy as people think, if you know what I'm throwing down there. So 654 Texas Tech, probably going to get some more money throughout the day.
Baylor coming off of that big comeback win over the Jayhawks. So I like it.
So, Sammy, 7 years ago, you were sitting here where I'm standing, and I was sitting where Alex was standing. And tomorrow, I think today is the last day of the desk that we were at. Tomorrow will be a new setup here in the South Point studios. But
what?
7 years, I think it was 7 years ago, Sammy. Are you more of a bettor now than you were then? I mean, are you betting way more now than when you were betting then when you first came to Vegas?
more money, less games.
Yeah,
Definitely.
now,
Like not emptying the clip anymore like I used to. Oh, what an idiot I used to be. Definitely more money, less games. I can't believe the desk is going away. Can you like saw me off a piece of desk and ship it to me?
Well, they're keeping it for a little bit. It's going to go in the back. Make sure everything goes smoothly. You know, it'll be the backup. But then once we're completely done with it, yes, we'll keep a piece for you.
Perfect. I'll be there in March. I imagine we're going to go get chicken wings one of those nights in March. I look forward to it.
sounds good.
Yep, absolutely. Sammy, enjoy the Super Bowl. I hope all of your bets cash. Thank you for sharing them with us and all of our listeners. We'll talk soon. He is the host of Bet Sweats. Make sure you follow him on X at SP Shoot. We'll talk to you soon, Sammy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bet Sweats. And we got Texas Tech. Very interesting because a good friend of mine wagered a major wager against Baylor the last time out against Kansas because of injury information. And they have been banged up. Jeremy Roach has been out. Langston Love has been out, and now they could have another player out. They may have a third player out in this game, going out on the road against Texas Tech, coming off a huge win that they could still be celebrating from Saturday. Not sure if they'll even be ready for this game yet. I didn't look at my sheet to see what I made the number on the game, but I will take a quick look. Where are we at? Baylor? We skipped over that game.
We did.
I only have Texas Tech 5.5 in the game. 132. I have an underplay because of the pace. It's going to be slow, but both these teams are good offensively. But again, if there's a player out for Baylor tonight, which there could be, and if it's one of their best players, I could adjust up. I could be as high as 10, and also looking for that letdown from Baylor from coming off that win over Kansas.
Texas Tech 8, and think that might move even higher. Checking in with the chat quickly, Dean Hilt. What about college basketball? Can you take a look at Michigan State and UCLA and see what your number is? Damian Wilson, Minidar, Bob Custer, 40 Kid. Everybody back in here. We appreciate it. 40 Kid would like NBA take on the Sixers and the Mavs. We are not there yet.
No Luka. Yeah, well, no Luka now. They was out anyway, but I think the Sixers have been getting healthier and healthier, but it's a game that it's a sport that I haven't put enough time into. So I really don't have a great opinion on that, so I'll pass that. But college basketball.
NBA will be back very shortly. Yes. We are making the sheets and updating those. And 2-0 on the leans on Sunday. Philly's been playing tough, even without Embiid and Paul George. So I would assume they're 3.5-point favorite.
I thought Embiid was back. Paul George was in and out.
Yeah.
But Embiid is out?
Embiid has been out. Let's see if he's back yet. But sorry, Michigan State, UCLA?
Yeah. I talked about the Big Ten earlier, that it is a conference that you have to pay attention to. And where was my note? What the heck? Where did I put that note?
Big Ten, not everybody makes it, right?
Yes. There it is, the top of the front sheet. No, not everybody makes it. The Big Ten, the bottom 3 are out. Top 9 get a bye. Top 4 get a double bye. So it is very important to finish in the top 4. So you have motivated teams throughout the entire year. In this game, Michigan State is 9-1 and atop the conference. So kind of comfortable. Where UCLA is 7-4 and they are battling for that double bye. They need a win. They have played better. Mick Cronin has said, we got a really good basketball team. They just don't play to their potential. And even though he says that and they had a little bit of a bad run, they're still 12-9 ATS this year. They're covering spreads. They're 8-4 ATS at home. Michigan State 3-3 on the road. I did make UCLA a little bit higher here. Dina made them 4.5, 133.5. So I leaned to the under. Again, I lost some games with UCLA over. Both these teams have trended to the under. They're combined 24 and 18. Both teams want the game badly. It is going to be both teams want the game badly. It is going to be a close game. I like it under more than anything.
UCLA has won 5 in a row, and I think that is right about the time that he called his team out, actually. Yep. So lost 4, and then they've really picked it up. Beat Oregon 78-52. I mean, these are pretty good games. Wisconsin and USC were both really big games for them, but you like the under in that one.
Do you want to power through the NHL real quick?
We'll
you don't have to
power
take
through-
a lot of time. We'll go if you got some notes or something. You can take more time on it.
Yep.
And then we'll take a time out and do our whiteboard plays.
And then you will have to do your projected box score and our player medians today or tomorrow and Friday.
Yeah, I can do that. I'll do. Yes, tomorrow from home after I cover the college basketball and some NHL, I'll go over the box score and those median player stats for prop bets.
Perfect. So make sure you check out tomorrow 9 a.m. Sports by the Book for more Super Bowl, since we won't have a guest. That will give you plenty of time to do that. All right, let's go through this and see if we have any plays here.
All right, NHL, Florida at Washington. South Point opened Florida $1.15, 5.5 over 15, no movement.
Okay, so it is not Logan Thompson. It is supposed to be Charlie Lindgren. Did you add that in?
I did. I adjusted. I didn't have a big adjustment, about 10 cents. So you'd have made it 43 with Washington, and now it's $1.33.
$1.33 for us, but you also have to factor in because Florida did lose at home November 25th, 4-1. So they have some home revenge there.
They have a 3-game winning streak too that you're going to adjust 15 cents down to 18 with the revenge. You're at Florida minus 107. You do lean to the over. Do you like it over?
Lean to the over here looking at these two. So the Capitals are second in goals for, but they're also in second in goals against. Panthers 7th in goals for, and they are 14th in goals against. We do have a little bit of a trend here. The Capitals playing more over games. So, yeah, I do like that one over 5.5.
And Washington, Florida, the Panthers, median score on the road is 4-3.
4-3.
They are a high-scoring team, and you have the backup goalie for Washington. All right, Minnesota and Boston. Here at the South Point, Boston $1.30. 5.5 was the opener. The side hasn't moved. The total up to 5.5 over. Little money for the over.
Little lean to the under and to Boston. Well, we have minus 137, so money coming in that way, which I do understand. Boston 6-3-1 in their last 10, and the Wild just 4-6. See if we have an underplay though. Both of them have over trends coming into this one. The Wild 11th in goals against. Bruins getting better, 24th in goals against though, so still not great. We'll stay off of that one. See if we have better.
Buffalo at Columbus. No, that's not true. Buffalo hosting Columbus. Buffalo here at the South Point Open, 165 up to 175. The total 6.5 under. You got differences on the side and total.
I do like the total, I think, even more than the side. Even though Columbus, I mean, that is a team that you do want to back. 6-3-1 in their last 10, so it's a little bit of a lean to taking that plus 155. But I like the total better. Both of them have trends to the over. Buffalo, 4 straight at home went over. Blue Jackets coming to this with 1. But Columbus has been an over team all year. They're tied for 8th in goals for. They're 26 in goals against. So, and then we've got the Sabres who are 29th in goals against. These two have already played.
Yep.
Blue Jackets won at home 6-4. So I like that over.
Over 6. Oh, actually, it's 6.5 now. There is a 6 in the market, but the market price is 6.5.
I would try and get that 6.
New Jersey at Pittsburgh. New Jersey, the Devils, the favorite, opened $1.55, down to $1.40 though. Money for Pittsburgh. 6 over 15 is now 6 flat.
The Devils have struggled without Jacob Markstrom, so Jake Allen going tonight. They are 4-2 in their last 10. I'm going to pass on this one, even though we do have the Devils minus 160, so 20-cent difference. Not enough there, and the total's right there as well.
Tampa Bay hosting Ottawa. Tampa Bay 165, the opener, up to $1.70. The total 5.5 over 15.
We've got the Lightning minus 163, so right there on the side. Ottawa's been playing really good, 7-2-1 in their last 10. Still need to check if it's Olmark. He did not actually play the other night.
They played back-to-back, so I don't think you're interested in playing the team back-to-back. when they're the weaker team.
And it would be an underplay for us, if anything. So we will just pass on that 5.5.
Vegas Golden Knights still on the road in New York. Lost to the Rangers the other night 4-2. Try to get a win there in the Big Apple. -145, 6 under a quarter.
We've got -142, and the Knights do have revenge. The Islanders won 4-0 here in T-Mobile this month, January 9th. So I would definitely add in some for VGK in that one. Is that enough to be a play on the Knights?
My worry is the streaks keep you off the game. The Knights have lost 3 in a row, and the Islanders have won 5 straight in their building.
Yep.
So that's a little scary. I may just take a look at that. Edmonton at St. Louis.
I do like that under. Is it 6?
It's 6 everywhere, yeah.
And it's even money to the under.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I don't want to pass up on that.
I mean, the Islanders are 26 in goals for. They're averaging just 2.73, and they are tied for 12th in goals against. So, yeah, I like that under.
Under the 6. Edmonton Oilers at St. Louis. Edmonton open 175 here at the South Point, up to 180. 6 up to 6 over 20.
The way I would play this is under as well, going under that 6. We've got it 5.5. No real trends. We do have the Blues 2 straight unders coming into this one. They're 27th in goals for, so not the best at scoring. They are 17th in goals against, though, and the Oilers are 7th in goals against. So under, unless you want to take the Blues team total under. That could be a better way to play it.
Maybe that's the way to do. Their median score at home is just 2 goals, St. Louis. So that might be the way to go. Under.
Yep, and you're right. Edmonton 4-3 on the road. So that could scare you off of that 6. So Blues under.
Winnipeg Jets at home. Now your number 1 team in the NHL. However, they're your number 1 team, but not the betting public. Carolina open $1.20. It's up to $1.35, 5.5 overs the total.
I am shocked. That is a big number for them to be laying on the road.
Against the team who's on a 6-game winning streak.
6-game winning streak, one of the top goalies in the league. They are number 1 in goals for and number 1 in goals against. This is the first game that these two have played. I mean, Carolina made a lot of moves before the deadline, so they are getting better, but I would definitely take the home team here in this one. We'll have to check what that price is.
And the game, yeah, you're getting plus 120 here at the South Point.
I think you have to take that with a team that good, right?
Yeah.
At home.
6-game winning streak at home with Hellebuck. Yeah, I like it. Philadelphia at Utah. Utah the favorite here, $1.35 up to 140, the total 5.5.
I don't really understand all the love for Utah. Flyers lost at home, so they do have some revenge here in this one. If we add that in, it might be a little bit of a play on the Flyers.
Yeah, I don't think you're getting enough. $1.20 is the best you can get, and that would bring it down to 105. It'd be a 15-cent difference. Both these teams are on losing streaks. Both teams are on strong under streaks, too.
Yeah. Let's pass on that one. We've actually got it at 6, and it's 5.5.
Yeah. Well, their median scorers, they both lose in this situation 4-3. Flyers on the road lose 4-3. Utah at home, they lose 4-3. So that shows up good. But as of late, 4 straight unders for Utah, 3 straight unders for the Flyers. Toronto at Calgary, Toronto $1.50 and 5.5 over a quarter. That line has not moved at all.
Another good game here between these two. We don't have Toronto quite that big of a favorite at home, and that's on the road, and that's because Calgary is 16-8-3 at home this year. Yeah, it's a little bit of a play taking that plus money with Calgary. Any streaks?
Well, let me ask you this. I'm looking at the market. South Point is the only 5.5 in the market. Everyone else has 6 under. You have it 5.5 under 20. Are you going in with the South Point and going to play that under?
Well, you mean play it somewhere else? Play
it under somewhere else. Yeah, you want to go under 6. You don't want to go under 5.5. You want to go under 6.
Yeah, Calgary 4 straight unders, 3 straight unders at home. Let's take a look at their numbers. The Maple Leafs are tied for 12th in goals against, 2.88, and Calgary 28th in goals for. So they struggle scoring, but they are very good. 15th in goals against, 2.9. However, our median's 3-3 for both teams. But I do like that under 6. That is.
Okay, that's East-West Canada kind of, but it's still Not a lot of Canadian teams, so when you are playing somebody from Canada, it is more of a rivalry. Detroit at Seattle. Seattle 120 and 5.5 over.
We have Seattle minus 127, so right there. Let me check if these two have played each other. Detroit won at home, so no revenge. And we've got it 6, so a little bit of a lean to the over here at 5.5. Detroit's numbers match that.
Yeah, they had the scoring for the season. They lose 4-3 on the road, but they're on a 5-game under streak on the road.
All right, let's stay off of that thanks to that streak.
Colorado, 3 games to go. We'll take our break. $1.30. They open $1.30, the Avalanche. They're up to 145, the total 5.5 over.
Would be a play on the Canucks, but the Avs do have revenge. They lost. No, they don't, because they lost in Vancouver, so we can't really give them anything for that. But they did lose the first matchup 3-1. This is the first of a 5-game road trip for Colorado. Total, looking at the over here in this one, taking a look at the 2 goalies with Blackwood and Demko. Mackenzie Blackwood's been very good. 2.37 goals against and a .916 save percentage. Demko, 3.26 goals against, so not great. Maybe looking at the Avs team total over 3-2. Oh, I guess Vancouver could help us. 3-4 is their median.
They give up 4 goals in their home games.
I like that over 5.5 between those two.
Okay. Even
though the Avs the other day won 2-0 against the Flyers, they had a nice shutout there. So
those 2 goalies, Demko is nowhere near midseason form, and Blackwood, to me, has always been a below-average NHL goalie. I didn't understand why Colorado went after him. Maybe he'll prove me wrong in the long run, but yeah, I like that over with you.
Well, they grabbed 2. Remember, they got Scott Wedgwood from Dallas, and then they got Blackwood. So kind of, they were supposed to be a goalie competition, but Wedgwood has not been back from injury, and Mackenzie Blackwood's been very good.
Dallas at Anaheim opened 230. Dallas on the road up to 246 under the total.
We're right there, minus 230 for the Stars against Anaheim, who they have revenge here. They lost to the Ducks at home 4-2 November 18th. So if you want to add that in as well, Ottinger by far the better goalie here. But John Gibson has been playing fairly well. It's because the Ducks cannot score. 32nd in goals for. They're 21st in goals allowed. Do we have an underplay? We do.
Yeah, I'd like that under. Their medians are very low, both of them.
Very low medians.
And you said the revenge factor, the better team is going to be ready. Anaheim's playing better as of late. They won 3 straight home games. So, I like that under.
Stars 3rd in goals against, 10th in goals for. So they are a really good defensive team. We know that.
Last game, Montreal at San Jose. Canadians open 165 up to 170, the total 6 over. And
both of these medians help with our case here of going over 6. Well, they both are right there at 6. But we have this game 6.75, 7 under minus 135. Taking a look at their numbers. Canadians 16th in goals for, 28th in goals against. The Sharks tied for 29th in goals for, so they do struggle to score, but they are 32nd in goals allowed. So
both teams rank higher offensively, so over the 6 in that one. Couple solid NHL plays.
Okay, and we're going to take a 1-minute break so we can get our whiteboard filled out. We'll be right back for our plays of the day.
South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, Triple Sevens, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun. South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rock and dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Get ready to laugh with Punchlines with Frank Nicotero. Join Frank and his team of featured guests for your daily dose of comedy.
Reno, the Pittsburgh of the West.
Poison.
Yeah.
Poison.
Sports.
F for Falcons, Alex. We were talking Derek Carr for MVP after 2 games.
Who's we?
Okay, me. I was.
And the funniest social media posts.
People want to show off their food. Boom. Wiener on a guy's shoulder. It's the Dark Colts. We bleed blue.
It's your one-stop spot for great laughs and a good time. Find us on YouTube at Punchlines FN. And join the chat live weekdays at noon Pacific for the ultimate blend of jokes, sports, and viral fun.
Welcome back, everybody. It is time for our whiteboard picks of the day. Thanks for hanging around with us. I know we're a little bit over time here, but thank you to Sammy P for joining us. We love having guests on to talk about the big game coming up this Sunday. But now let's get to our picks and get you out of here. So I'll start. I have 4 in hockey. I'm going with Columbus Blue Jackets and Buffalo Sabres over 6. The Jets at home against Carolina plus 115. VGK and the Islanders under 6. And then Toronto and Calgary under 6 as well. 2 college basketball. Buffalo and Toledo. That one we are going over. That is 165. And then Drake, you convinced me. Important game for them, -4.5 for Drake on the road today. The much better defense in that game. And those are my 6 plays of the day. Let's keep it going after a nice 2-0 day yesterday that I really needed.
Yeah, the far better team. That's where I'm going to start. Drake at Murray State. They lost. It's very unusual for a team this good to have revenge, and they have it. So we're laying 4.5 with Drake. St. Louis, another team I'm betting, kind of a revenge factor game against UMass. I think they're the better team. They're the better defensive team by far. We'll lay the 1, and then 2 totals on the unders. UCLA hosting Michigan State. Both teams play very similar. Great defense, great transition defense. They're not going to allow each other to run. It'll be a half-court game. And then UNLV hosting Boise State. Big game for those two. They're battling it out for that 5th and coveted bye in the conference tournament. So UNLV Boise under 141. And don't forget, the Punchlines Dog of the Day at 12 today.
12:50. Make sure you go to Punchlines FN YouTube channel for that show. That will begin in less than 2 hours at 12 p.m. I will be there again with Frank Nicotero. Thank you guys all for joining us. Somebody brought up the good NBA schedule, and I agree. Can't wait to watch that Celtics and Cavs game, the 3rd game this year. They each have 1. So Lakers, Clippers, yeah, very, very good slate there. So thanks for joining us. Let's cash some tickets, win some money to put on our Super Bowl bets. Make sure you join tomorrow, 9 a.m. again, Sports by the Book, and Kenny White will be going over a lot of Super Bowl stuff there as well. Thank you, everybody behind the glass. Thank you, everybody watching. We'll see you guys soon. Please like, share, and subscribe. This has been Sports by the Book.